Valve surprise dropped the major pick'ems into the game yesterday. We have buckler stickers, we're getting ready, Austin, Texas, the major is 2 weeks away, and it's time to decide how we can go about getting those diamond coins. And for once, I'm not just yapping into the void, I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend. Vu is here to help me get through these pick'ems. Vu, how are you doing?
It's always a great day when you get to put a Brazilian team 0-3, you know? And just to be clear, I'm the diamond coin savant. So if you want a diamond coin, just copy my picks.
There you go. How many diamond coins have you got so far? Like, how many deep are we?
Not that many. But if phase one against Na'Vi, then I would have been the only person. I was part of 0.1% that would have had a diamond coin. Okay, so I was close. I was close.
All right, well, we're going to try and sift through the tea leaves. We'll get through this terrible major format. These best of ones will not defeat us today. We're going to sit down and make sure these pick'ems are correct. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, you guys can do that by showing me with a like, a comment, subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. I'm trying to hit 10K subs by the end of the year, and it helps out immensely in the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you go follow Vu as well. If you know about me, you certainly know about him, but he's going to be linked in the description as well. And lastly, before we get started, I would like to thank today's sponsor. Austin, Texas, brother. The first American major in 7 years. 32 teams will enter, and only one will rise above and enter into history. While the action unfolds in the server, you can fight your own battles and predict who will win. 4 stages. Make the right choices and win awesome prizes. Show off to all your friends that you do, in fact, know ball. Participate in Skin Club's major pick'ems with the first stage starting on June 2nd. Check the top link in the description to go ahead and get started. And lastly, remember, Skin Club is an online gambling service. If you choose to play on Skin Club, please do so safely and responsibly. Do not gamble if you're under 18 or live in a country or jurisdiction that restricts gambling. Gambling addiction is a serious issue, and if you or a loved one are suffering from gambling addiction, you are not alone. If you live in the US or Canada, you can reach out toll-free to 1-800-GAMBLER for help. Please be safe, and thank you to Skin Club for sponsoring this video. Alright, so before we get into the individual picks, the first thing we have to set up is the format. The major format is different to pretty much every other tournament in the year at this point. We have best of 3s in the finals, we have best of 1s early on in the groups. It's a little bit of a nightmare because, as we all know, best of 1s, even in MR16, were terrible to deal with. So there could be chaos at any point within these picks. Vu, first off, how much do you think the best of 1s are going to destroy or make your pick'ems?
A lot, but at the same time, I mean, just even if it's best of 3, getting the right 3-0 picks, you're gonna have a bad day. It's like a bad day is gonna happen. So I don't think it matters too much. It's the reseeding and all of that stuff that makes it really hard to actually predict who's gonna play who. And if the problem is you pick a 3-0 and then they play your other 3-0 pick in the second round, it's like, what am I supposed to do here? Even if it was a best 3, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
so actually that brings up a good point. Also linked in the description is going to be a major simulator website. This will allow you to go in and take a look at your picks and see who could be potentially matching up who in subsequent rounds. We're not going to reference this too much once we get too deep into this video, because once you get to like round 3, round 4, round 5, we're trying to pick like 17 picks ahead to see who's going to play who. It gets to be kind of a nightmare and not as useful. But what it's really good for is trying to pick out the 0-3s and the 3-0s. So the first place we're going to start is with the 3-0 teams. So Vu, for me, I think the 3-0 teams, no matter what, the first person who's getting through 3-0 is going to be heroic.
Yeah, no, you can't really argue with that. It's just, any other pick, you're kind of gambling at least a little bit. Heroic is clearly just the best of the teams that are at this event. It's kind of inarguable.
Yeah, I think they are the best team, and it's not close. I will add one caveat, and that's that at Dallas, Sun Pius had an unusually bad tournament. So with there only being, another week and a half until stage 1 begins, that's a little concerning, and then you add in that BO1 variance. But considering their first round matchup is actually the Chinggis Warriors, the Mongolian team, I'm not really concerned about them losing the first game. And I feel like if they get off to a hot start, they're way more likely to go on and sweep through out of the stage.
I mean, who did they lose to at Dallas? They lost to Aurora. No, they beat Aurora, lost to Falcons. They beat FaZe. They lost to Aurora the second time. That's, what is that? Like, that's bad for them. That's not bad for the field they're playing here.
Sure. I just think Senpai specifically had a really up and
Yeah.
down tournament, which is a little bit
Yeah.
concerning.
Yeah, well, because he's playing. I don't think they're playing Woxic and Simple and who's the opera on that third team I mentioned. I don't think they're playing the level of
Yeah, that's fair.
competition that's gonna be able to gonna be able to deal with them. Woxic, Simple, and Monacy. Tell me Sunbias might struggle against them. I'll believe you.
That's fair. I do think when you actually go back and watch the games, though, like he was missing like easy shots, which was a little bit concerning. I think the big thing for Heroic that's going to power them through, though, and why I'm not super worried about it, is Tanir. I think Tanir has been unreal for them like the entire year almost. And considering he wasn't even supposed to be on this team originally, that's kind of incredible for his own personal story. But I feel like he could just single-handedly power him through some of these games.
Yeah, is he gonna? I made a tweet that I said Kyosuke might be sold by Spirit so that they can go buy Tanir.
Yeah.
And the heroic Twitter account responded and said, "Delete this, please."
Like, please stop. Don't wish this upon us again. We can't keep going through this. Can we keep him one time? Can we get through one season without being poached? Anyways, Heroic seem inarguable as the first pick for 3-0, and I think looking online, everyone's thinking them as well. The next team to pick is definitely a lot harder. So when we were going about this, the other clear teams that seemed like a good bet would be teams like Complexity, Bet Boom, Wildcard, Bait even look really good. Out of all of those, though, the first place I want to start is Complexity. Because if there were no issues going into this, I think Complexity would also be 100% going through this field every single time. But if Halzerk does not show up, which is currently up in the air still because of the visa problems, then Complexity, I think, become much more vulnerable.
And they also have Junior as the replacement, who has not been the most consistent opera when he's played. Do we actually know how much he has been playing recently? I think he's been in like tier 2, tier 3 NA, right?
I don't think they've stated how much they've been playing together because it's still up in the air whether Halzerk will actually be there or not.
Just his practice in terms of the level of competition. Looking at his
I have
match
no idea.
page, he's playing tier 2 NA. He's playing like Tsunami, he played a couple games against NRG, and he is not typically a player that I remember doing all that well when he's playing top teams. But he did always have the ability to take over games against teams that didn't like throw perfect utility, which is some of the teams that are here. But I mean, just in general, Complexity should be able to, you would think individually, even with Junior, as long as Junior is playing at an acceptable level, they'll win most of these matchups. The problem is 3-0, not seeing it.
Yeah, I'm also just worried about best of ones. I think the variance of you're not going to have the same kind of prep time. Junior, no matter how much he works at it, he's not going to fit in the same way Halzerk did exactly because they've all been playing together for so long. It seems like cohesion is going to kind of come back to bite them unless we get a Grim is just suddenly the best ball player on the earth type of performance.
It's also one of those things you have to think about. Is a team that's like good at getting upsets, or are they a team that's good at beating the teams that are worse than them? And I think Complexity always feels like a team where you just have an off day for the wrong person and they can lose to a lot of different teams. That's always how they felt to me.
Yeah. So I would say personally, I think Complexity is off that list. I think the two teams that I'm pulling for the most for 3-0 after Heroic is for me Bet Boom or Wildcard, which I know is a little bit contentious with Wildcard. Wildcard are a team I continue to, I think, overrate slightly, which is something I've had to moderate lately with their current string of results. But I just think Fozy is really, really good right now, and they've got a great grasp on utility and strategy, and I think Stanislaw is legitimately not just good for this level, but a good in-game leader in general.
I think Stanislaw is a good IGL, but what has he done without Daps setting it up first? That's the question I have for Stanislaw. I mean, the problem with Wildcard is not that I don't think they're good and that I don't think they should definitely get through this level. It's they feel exactly what I said about Complexity, but when I was thinking about this about Complexity, I was really thinking more about Wildcard. That Wildcard are a really good team when it comes to they can definitely beat teams that are much better than them. But that doesn't mean they're going to be the most consistent at beating teams that are, especially in best of ones, lower ranked than them, or a team like Heroic if they end up meeting them, a team like FlyQuest, Complexity. These are teams that I think they definitely will drop maps to, even if they are the better team. And in a best of one, that means they're gonna not be a 3-0 team. Logically, if you just go by like which team do you think is the best, it's Heroic and then Wildcard. I think as long as Complexity doesn't have Halzerg, but I don't have them 3-0.
Okay. I do think the one thing to add in, this is where the simulator is very helpful. If all the favorites win the opening round, which is not a given, that's actually very unlikely, Heroic would have to play Wildcard in the second round. I do think it would still have to be a quite a few of the games would have to go to the non-favorite, the lower seeded team, for that not to happen. So Heroic, or Wildcard rather, definitely have this going against them that they might have to play the guaranteed best team before the 2-0 game.
I would say Wildcard, the problem with Wildcard is they're going to play one of the best teams almost no matter what.
Yes.
Because of just the way the way the seeding works, which means even if they don't play Heroic, they're either playing Bet Boom, they're playing Bait, or they're playing FlyQuest. All teams that absolutely in a MR 12 best of one, that's like a coin flip.
Yep, 100%. So I do think then my personal pick for 3-0 is going to be Bet Boom. And obviously, if you're familiar with me on the channel, you know that I am Boomich's strongest soldier. I will preach the church of the boom until the end of time. I rate Bet Boom as a team alone because of Boomich. He's a proven major winning IGL. I think Zorte and Magnajez are good, not even just like good for this level, but good players. Axile is the X factor. Axile will either tank this pick or make it happen himself, and that is the concerning part.
Bet Boom, I want to like Bet Boom. I want to like them. I like some of the players on the team, but the reality is I just don't see them as a great 3-0 pick. But then basically what I've done here is I've gone through and shot down all the 3-0 picks as not that likely, except for Heroic. And now the question is, which one are we picking here?
Yeah.
I've looped back around to maybe picking Complexity, because after that I'm off on Wildcard. I'm off on Bet Boom. Bait is the team I'm looking at after that. Honestly, I actually really do like Bait. I like the way they play. I think they're a strong team, but I'm going back. I'm rescinding everything I've said so far. It's Complexity. We're going Hero at Complexity.
Okay, go. Yeah, I think that is the safe pick, and I do think Grim is good enough to get them through the games. I'm going to give deference to the fact that I think stand-ins just create a lot of chaos, is why I'm not super confident in that pick. The other thing we have to mention is that the way that the pick'ems work, if this is your first time doing it, you need 6 correct picks. So you don't need to get everything perfect. So there is some room to take some risk here. And personally, despite the issues with Bet Boom, I think they're way less likely to drop a BO1 than Complexity with a stand-in.
This is true, but the key for me is that it is the matchup thing. Just looking through all of the matchups, Complexity, it's a little concerning that the odds are relatively high. They might have to play against Legacy, but they don't have to play in almost, I don't think in any situation they have to play Heroic right away. No. They don't have to play Bet Boom for one. They don't really have to play, probably not Wildcard, probably not Bait. Like, they don't have to play the best teams, whereas a lot of these other teams are likely to play some of the better teams. They're likely to play a Complexity, and that's where I'm thinking round 2, best of 1, the matchup, the opponent matters a lot more.
I will say there is a possible outcome, and that's if the simulator literally goes perfectly. Complexity could play Bet Boom in the 2-0. That is possible.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine. Once you get to the 2-0 and it's a best of 3, I feel like any pick that you have that gets to the 2-0 matches, I'm fine with that. It's win or lose is fine.
Okay, so I think just for sake of pushing things forward, if you go Complexity Heroic, I think that's totally fair. I have to be the Church of Boomich, so I'm gonna go Heroic Bet Boom as my 3-0.
Fair enough. I think watch us be completely wrong, and it's just wild card.
I know, right? It's gonna be wild card and Bait. Heroic losing the first round or something stupid.
Yeah.
So keeping things moving, then we're gonna go to the 3-1-3-2 teams first, and we'll do 0-3 teams at the end. Now, the 3-1-3-2 I think is actually easier than the 3-0 because you can just kind of pick the 6 best teams who weren't the 3-0, and I feel like that's odds on how it's gonna work out most of the time. So for me, with picking Heroic and Bet Boom, I have Complexity, Wildcard, Bait, OG, Imperial, and then Tai Lu as my 3-1-3-2.
So the problem is there's more than 6 teams that you would want in theory to put in the 3-1-3-2.
Yes,
because
that is
you
fair.
just said like a good list of teams, and it's like in my mind I don't really disagree with any of those. But then we're missing FlyQuest and we're missing Legacy, who are both good. Like they both are teams that should get through, right? But then who do you take off that list? Because for me, and this is going to be wild, you're going to hate me for this one, but for me, the first 2 teams were taken off. Bet Boom is number 1. Bet Boom's at the top of the list of teams that I think could absolutely fumble this entire stage.
They could absolutely fumble. I'm not going to disagree with that.
And then you had Wildcard in there, right?
Yes, I have Wildcard in there.
Tai Lu was a team I might have had to take off because I have them on mine. You don't have them on yours.
I have Tai Lu
took
in.
Imperial off for Legacy. Oh, you have Tai Lu, okay.
Yes.
I took Imperial off for Legacy, and then Tai Lu, it's between Tai Lu and Bet Boom, who I would take off for FlyQuest.
This is gonna suck because I have a lot of Australians in my Discord, and I love working with Josh and Strike from time to time. I have no faith in FlyQuest to win anything.
Really?
Yeah, I'm borderline. I was tempted to put them 0-3. Like I strongly considered it. I feel like every time I've watched them play, and granted, keep in mind I don't watch much of the tier 2. I'm usually a tier 1 guy, at least when it comes to covering tournaments on the channel. So against this level of competition, FlyQuest are definitely going to win some games. But in a best of 3, I have zero faith. Like just zero faith.
Here's the problem. The thing is, I think you've been watching a lot of tier 1.
Yes.
And against tier 1 competition, FlyQuest, bad. Decisively bad.
Yeah.
But I feel like these other teams might be getting slightly overrated, some of them,
That's
because
possible.
they're not in these tier 1 tournaments to show you that they too are bad. In fact, even worse than FlyQuest.
I'm gonna be honest.
Imperial, what has Imperial done?
Yeah, that's fair. I think that Descenti and No Way are just incredible individual talents.
I agree with you on that.
I don't think anyone like save Regali is better than those two.
But here's the problem. It always comes down to is that I think when you look at teams that play a lot in South American CS, they have a very specific style.
Yeah.
And I think they sometimes just struggle to replicate that against teams that use their utility in a European way, let's say.
Yeah.
The European meta. And I mean, North America has like its own meta too. It seems to overlap slightly better than like when you see like think about Try. When Try was on 9Z the first time around and he was like this insane talent, and then he just joins a top team. I think he joined MIBR or something. He just couldn't do anything. It's not going to be the same for Imperial. Obviously, they do have experience against like different competition, but at the same time, I still have to rate FlyQuest a little bit better.
I mean, maybe this is the buried hot take of the video. OG don't have a single player that's better than Regali. I think OG would beat FlyQuest.
Well, it's not OG that I'm thinking about taking out of the list. FlyQuest is... I have FlyQuest as like my 5th or 6th choice. It's crazily enough, like I said, it's Tai Lu or Bet Boom, because Tai Lu I think is a really good team in theory, and they have really great upset potential, but I think in a best of 3, do they have the depth? Not necessarily. And then Bet Boom, it's not even anything specific. It's the aura of that team. It's just one that just fails to do anything. So it's like
it's okay. We could talk about the Axile manifesto another time. I understand where the bias is coming in. He has lied to us too many times. I understand not having faith in Axile.
I'm kind of thinking I'm leaning towards removing Bet Boom.
Okay, I think that is reasonable. I think I'm taking a flyer on Bet Boom for 3-0. I don't deny that. I just don't I don't like the other teams any better. So I'm just going with the team I like.
I actually really think that Bet Boom makes a lot of sense for a 3-0 because if they don't, they do have some potential of not being a 3-1, 3-2 team.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put them 3-0 and they go 3-1, 3-2, then you just lose. Like, you lose both points. You don't get the 3-0 and you don't get the 3-1, 3-2.
That is
so
the
if you have
hard
a
part.
team, yeah, if you have a team that you're like, if they could just not show up to the whole event and just do terribly, that's Bet Boom. That's definitely Bet Boom.
That's true.
Which means they're a really good 3-0 choice, as opposed to like if I'm putting complexity, if they don't go 3-0, they're definitely going 3-1, 3-2. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the ambiguity of being able to make the choice. And what's hard now is that we're getting to the point where I think it's easy to pick out the teams that would maybe lose in like a 2-2 game. But what's even harder is picking the teams that are going to bomb out because of the volatility of those early rounds. Like,
oh no, I think that's easy.
Out of the teams that we've picked, I think it's very easy to say that like, yeah, FlyQuest could make it through, but also you can see them losing 2-2. Like NRG, like maybe if you get like a miracle performance out of OC and Hexed, maybe they could fluke through in the last game. I don't think that's unreasonable. Same thing with like Nabiga, they could get through. The teams that feel like they have no chance for me would probably be LinVision, Fluxo, and Metasport.
Yeah, I have Chinggis there as well. The thing is,
oh yeah, sorry, and Chinggis Warriors.
Yeah, the problem is that when you look at LinVision and Chinggis, I've said this for a long time and it's never let me down. The Asian teams never go 0-3. They always have an ability to, they always have like a game plan that works really well against a certain team because they don't go in. This is kind of disrespect to like all other CS regions. Every other CS region seems to go in and think that they can play their style and maybe have a little bit of anti-stratting and they could do well. When I look at a team like I think of Tyloo as like the perfect one for this, but this is true of like most, it seems like Asian CS, that they come into these events and they're like, look, we have like an idea of how this team plays. Here's how we're going to do it. And we're going to beat them doing XYZ. And here's how like all list of ways we're going to do it. And then they just go in, they execute it. And if it's going to work against someone, like even if it's a team that is way better than them, they're going to find a way to win at least a game. So it's hard, but logically to me, it's Fluxo and Chinggis are just, they have to be the 0-3 teams.
Yeah, it does feel like the Asian teams are really good at just trying to jump a team in a best of one. Like that's all they love being able to do that. And historically they've been very good at it. Just like, hey, it's first game of the tournament. Maybe you're worried about another matchup later on. We've studied every demo you ever played on every other map, and we're just gonna just jump you on this first map on Mirage or something. And then, so like that's why I think like Tyloo actually has a pretty decent shot because Jamyang is like very good by the eye test, and I think he could overpower a lot of these matchups if he gets like good going momentum wise.
100%.
Fluxo I think is probably the easiest pick for 0-3 because they literally have no international results. It's all domestic South American stuff. So when you go look at their stats on HLTV, they all look good. You know, they have a bunch of players over 1.10 rating, but it's just like the quality of competition is awful. Like it's just like not even like rateable quality of competition.
Yeah, and it's another thing where they go in, they play against teams that have a lot of experience in Europe that use their utility at a really high level. And when I look at like South American CS, I'm just gonna say my opinion on it is that they play very brawly CS, and sometimes you switch from that and you switch to a very utility heavy game, and sometimes you can catch people off guard if your individuals are good enough. But sometimes you just end up not having these opportunities. You end up getting traded. You end up getting flashed off of angles, and you see players force engagements and end up dying for it. I tend to think that doesn't work quite as well in this type of event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely more volatile, and volatility is what you want to avoid in a best of one scenario. So I think that the Fluxo would be the easy pick. I think after that, I would be pretty high deference to Chinggis Warriors as the other 0-3, just because out of all of the Asian teams, they seem to have the kind of least amount of results. Like, I don't really rate LinVision whatsoever, but they've been in so many majors. I feel like they have they just have the grasp of experience, so that if they get, if they get into like the 0-1 bracket after losing the initial matchup, I'm not like immediately out on them not being able to win a game.
Yeah, I think right? I'm actually, I want to loop back around. I'm going with you. I'm actually changing my picks entirely. I'm putting complexity back in the 3-1-3-2 because I think they're more likely to go 3-1-3-2 than they are to go 3-0. And fuck it, let's put Bet Boom in the 3-0.
Oh, he's joining the church. We've done it. We've converted. We've converted another Bet Boom enjoyer.
I hate them so much, but at the same time, at least if they don't go 3-0, I'll just be like, yeah, fuck it. I hope they get 2-3.
That's fair. It's probably on their downfall or thanks for the free pick. I can live with that. Yeah, so I mean, I just don't think there's any other teams that feel like they're good enough to sneak in. Obviously, yeah, if you said FlyQuest gets in over Imperial, I would not be surprised. But I feel like
if we want to switch those, I have Legacy over Imperial, like direct 1-to-1. Which team do I think is the better South American team? I think it's Legacy, personally.
Okay, I think that's actually a very interesting discussion in and of itself. Again, I have a lot of time in the day for Descenti and No Way. But I mean, in terms of results, I believe Legacy have beaten Imperial recently.
Yeah, they beat them in February. No, Imperial won, actually.
Oh, never mind.
Okay. Yeah, they were both close games, though.
All right, cutting back in. No, we were wrong about that. Legacy did not beat Imperial recently. Misinformation
Legacy
being
lost
spread
to Imperial, yeah. I just look at Legacy's recent results, and I just feel like they're putting up strong showings against a lot of really good teams.
Yeah.
And Imperial, I mean, they're beating teams, but they lost to Bet Boom, who, you know, is questionable. They're losing maps to teams that are worse than them. I think in current form, I rate Legacy higher, but I could be completely wrong on this one.
I think that's actually a valid pick. I think people are going to hate on it because of the Bestia drama, but that has nothing to do with the play in the server. Legacy has really good pieces. Like I know Lotto and Lux are really highly touted as prospects moving up. So I think that's valid. I think for sure the easy picks that are going to get through, like you're going to get 3 picks out of Heroic, Complexity, Wildcard, and I think Bait are also pretty good as well. And you only need 2 more after that. So if you're taking a flyer on 2 more, I think you're pretty secure in terms of the pick'ems.
For sure.
Okay. I think I'm good to lock these in. So once again, that's 3-0 is Heroic and Bet Boom. At 3-1-3-2, I have Complexity, Wildcard, Bait, OG, Imperial, and Tyloo. You could also optionally go for Legacy. FlyQuest is also potential. I think Namiga is probably the only team we didn't really touch on. They're okay. They're okay. They are the most okayest of team.
Yeah, they're just it's like a lot of these teams. NRG, Linvision, you know, these are teams that are not bad, but they're teams that if they're going to sneak through, they're going to sneak through 3-2, right? Like there's not much like 3-1, 3-0 upside potential. Yes. So it's hard to really even talk about them as a team that's likely to go through.
Yeah. All right, well then personally, I'm good to lock it in. How are you feeling about your picks?
Feeling pretty good. Yeah, I think I just replaced, in mine, I've got Heroic, Bet Boom 3-0, and then I've got Bait, FlyQuest, Complexity, Legacy, OG, and did I say? Yeah, and Tyloo, I believe, right?
Yeah. And 03, Fluxo, and the Chingus Warriors.
Yeah, that's an easy, you're getting at least 1 3-0, you're getting at least 1 03, and that means in the other ones you need what? You need 4 of those or 3 of them?
4.
You need 4 of those.
I'm pretty good about that.
I'm not feeling too good about that, but we'll see.
This might be a torpedo diamond on day 1, but personally, you know, believe in the process. Bet Boom will be the best in-game leader in the world in the next 6 months. You know, you heard it here first. Not delusional whatsoever. Winning the major, defeating Vitality, it's all going to happen. It's guaranteed. Axile will prove why he's actually not a fraud, and we'll all be able to say he's back.
Axile will humble.
Exactly. So, guys, by the way, we're going to be doing this for each stage. Me and Vu are going to be working together. Some of them are going to go up on his channel. Some of them are going to go up on mine. So come back when we get to stage 2 and 3 for more Pick'ems advice. If we tank your coin, you cannot sue. We are not liable for any Pick'ems mistakes that may happen.
This is betting advice.
Yeah. Just, you know, don't risk Pick'ems that you can't afford to lose. You know, always pick 'em safe and responsible. Always. That's going to be it, though. Make sure you guys do me a solid here. Leave a like, leave a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel, like I said already. We're trying to hit 10K by the end of the year. We recently passed 6K subscribers, so things are going really great. Make sure you check out Vu as well if you somehow don't know about him, but you're watching me. I mean, you know, people keep saying that I am Vu, but we finally proved them wrong. I mean, we have proof in video now. that we are two different people. Thankfully, we could put that one to bed. I have my hair still for now, and we're just gonna keep we'll keep that as my advantage over Vu.
I'm gonna get a fucking hair transplant off of this.
Get the Turkish hair transplant. Vu's gonna show up to the next Blast event with just full flowing locks and just Mog Maui Snake even more.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Check out our next one. We'll be back.
Thank you to Skin Club for sponsoring this video. Check this out in the description to get 7% of the bonus next time you fill up. Please make sure you gamble safely and responsibly, and check out their major pick'ems that are going on their website alongside the Austin Major, available starting June 2nd. Thank you to my channel members, Justin, Jesse, Furley, Milan Berta, Bubblesj, Dr. Cocktor, Patatas Kaftesi, PTR, B1, Cody Foxworthy, Justin Vander Veit, I'm Flashbang, Snowy White, Rowdy, Vergil'sPlasticChair, and Sid Pro 12. If you want to become a channel member, you can do so. The link is down below. $5 money you support me directly. Because I'm in the video just like this, as well as custom on our community Discord. Thank you to our channel members, and follow me on Twitch at LionHeartZ. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.